Hey, Richard Bryce here, Tennis Hacker. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about what I believe is the most important skill if you want to play high-level tennis. We're going to be talking about eye-to-foot coordination. So I'm going to explain what it is and how you can train it so you can start to see more improvements within your game. I hope you find the video helpful. If you do, be awesome if you could give me that thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, really appreciate it if you could do that as well. So what is eye-to-foot coordination? Well, as the name suggests, it's your ability to see something with your eyes and then to respond in a coordinated way with your feet. And it's my belief that this is the most important skill for high-level tennis. You hear a lot of people talking about hand-to-eye coordination and how important that is, and it is. But what you need to appreciate is you have to get to the ball first. If you can't get to the ball, it does not matter how good your hand-to-eye or eye-to-hand coordination is, because you haven't got to the ball. And if you don't get set up in the right position, your chances of executing the shot go down dramatically. So your first job is to read where the ball's going and then to use your feet appropriately to get set up in the right position. And this is something I really had emphasized last year when I was relearning to play left-handed. So I had a mountain bike crash which affected my right collarbone, so I decided to learn to play left-handed. And the thing that I found the hardest was what was going on with my feet. As a right-handed player, I'm really quick around the court. It was one of my strengths. But when I started to play left-handed, I was kind of slow, which is strange. You would think the footwork and the movement is going to be fairly similar, but it's the hardest thing, or certainly I found it the hardest thing to change. And one of the big areas where it went wrong was the spacing on my forehand. As a right-handed player, I've got a one-handed backhand. This is going to be a reasonable space distance from the ball. If I then want to hit a left-handed forehand now, I'm too close. So every time I was playing and the ball came to my forehand side, I was just getting too close to the ball. It took me quite a while, quite a bit of practice to get the appropriate footwork, to get the eye-to-foot coordination, so that when the ball came, I was then able to set up at the right distance from the ball. So that's why eye-to-foot coordination is so important, because unless you're set up in the right position, it's really hard to execute the shots. So what we're going to do now is talk about how we can train it and improve it within your game. In order to improve your eye-to-foot coordination, you're going to need to train the individual parts separately and then put them together and take them out on court and practice. So you're going to need to work on the footwork side of things and the visual side of things. We're going to start with the footwork because that'll be the one that you're most familiar with. Now, most players have never actually practiced footwork without the ball, and that's a big mistake because tennis movements are really unusual. Unless you grew up playing tennis your whole life, it's something that you do need to spend time working on without the ball first. We've got the split step. After that, we've got some type of pivot step, which you're going to be doing as you do your unit turn. Sometimes your pivot step, you're going to be bringing your foot underneath you when you're trying to cover more ground. Sometimes you're just going to be planting your pivot step, and sometimes you're going to be stepping out a little bit into your pivot step. We've then got court coverage steps that allow us to get to the ball. And these are generally a little bit bigger. So if I'm trying to get to a wide ball, I might be doing a crossover step in order to get there. Obviously, if I'm moving forwards, maybe a short ball, I might need to do some running steps first before I transition in. And then we've also got adjustment steps. So adjustment steps tend to be smaller steps that we use to help kind of finalize our positioning or to help us get balance. So if I'm dealing with the ball there, I might be taking a few little adjustment steps just to make sure I'm the right distance. Or maybe the ball is a high ball and I think it's going into one position, and then I have to back out the way or move into a slightly different position just to get the ideal positioning to hit my shot. So we've got those different types of footwork steps that you need to practice off the court. Instead of making this a really long video and going through all of them here, I've created a free program that's going to walk you through it and show you how to train them. So I'll place a link down below, and I'll place a link up there to this free footwork program that I've created for you, which hopefully is going to be really beneficial, and it's going to help you to improve your eye-to-foot coordination. The next thing you need to work on is going to be your visual system, because if you can't quickly read where the ball's going, it's going to be really hard to react and it's going to cause you to prepare late for your shots. You also need to be able to accurately judge distance and depth, because if you don't have the ability to do that, it's basically impossible to set up the right distance from the ball on a consistent basis. And the reality is that this is what holds most players back. Their visual systems simply do not function at a high enough level to allow them to play tennis in the way that they want. The good news though is that this is stuff you can actually change with training. Now again, instead of making this video ridiculously long, I've created another resource to teach you more about it. It's going to be a masterclass. I'll place a link down in the description and I'll place a link up there so you can check that out if you're interested, because what I want to do now is focus on how you train this stuff when you're back out on court. The next bit is the fun part. You get out there on court and you focus on programming your eye to foot coordination. So when your partner hits the ball, you're trying to process the exact moment that they make contact with the ball. Hopefully you're landing your split step just after that, and then you're responding with the appropriate footwork. And you're thinking about it. You're programming your eyes and feet together. You can't go out there and get distracted by multiple other things that you're thinking about. You can't be thinking about the way that you're doing a unit turn. You can't be thinking about all this other stuff. You have to focus on connecting your visual system to your feet, and you have to spend enough time working on that until it happens automatically, until every time that you're playing or you're using a ball machine, your visual system is trained to pick up where the ball's going, and then you've trained yourself to respond with appropriate footwork so that you can get set up in the right position on all of your shots. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Eye to foot coordination really is one of the most important skills in high level tennis. You need to break things down, train them separately. So you're going to work on your footwork, you're going to work on your visual system, and then when you get out on court, it needs to be focused practice, getting enough repetitions until the process becomes automated. Just another quick reminder about those two resources available for you. There's the free footwork program, and then there's the masterclass that's going to take you through some vision assessments, some coordination assessments, and basically explain how you can improve performance with brain-based training, because obviously you need the technical understanding, you need to understand tactics, but if you don't have enough skill, if you don't have enough ability, that's what maxes most players out. The good news though, you can change that. The masterclass that I've made for you is going to explain all about it. If you've got any questions about what we've talked about today, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as quick as I can.